Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2 of the VGC Casters Cup. This time we are using a Regulation F format, which is the current VGC format. And as you can see, I have drafted a drastically different team compared to my last season's team. For those of you who are following the videos, last season I used a very Palafin-centric team, and in fact, my week 1 opponent is going to be using a Palafin against me. Now, because I never actually did a draft team video, the intro part of this is just going to be a very brief rundown of why I picked the Pokemon that I did. One of the issues that I had with the Palafin team last season was that it was extremely one-dimensional, and Palafin being the only damage dealer on my team meant that I was incredibly reliant on Palafin. And although Palafin was strong enough to carry us all the way into the playoffs, I just didn't like the fact that I was always forced to bring Palafin every single week. So this season, I have gone with a more rounded approach where every Pokemon on the team should present some form of offensive threat. And that's why you can see I have some very strong hitters like the Urshifu and the Heatran and the Iron Valiant. I think those three are going to be my heavy hitters, and then I've got a few other Pokemon to support them, like the Double Intimidate and the Ting-Lu and the Raichu, Trevenant and Yuxi. So our week 1 opponent is going to be up against Marcus of the Oslo Gladiators. Now, as you can see, this is, in fact, I would say one of the hardest matchups for my team. Urshifu doesn't really like facing off against a Volcarona because Volcarona can easily just go for a Terra Grass or Terra Water, and those 3 hits of Surging Strikes means that there's a 30% chance of activating a burn from Volcarona's Flame Body. Not to mention, Urshifu, it's very good at breaking through protects, but especially in a closed team sheet format against an Therian Landorus, I don't know if that Landorus is going to be Choice Scarf or Assault Vest or I don't know, Choice Band or Clear Amulet. My gut instinct is that the Landorus is not going to be Assault Vest because my team is primarily physical. So the Landorus is most likely going to be either a Clear Amulet to try and mitigate my Double Intimidate team, or it's going to be a Choice Scarf. Of the two, I'm scared of Choice Scarf more. And then there's the Brute Bonnet, which is also incredibly problematic because it can just spread sleep throughout my team. Not to mention, there's so many heavy hitters like Palafin, which resists Urshifu, and then you got Toxic Croak, which with its Dry Skin ability completely shuts down any water type attacks, and because of its part poison typing, doesn't care about the fighting moves from Urshifu either. And then to round it out, Marcus also has this really annoying Hisuian Goodra, whose ability Shell Armor ignores critical hits. So I think I've really got my work cut out for me this week. Heatran, which I could also rely on, is takes ×4 super effective damage from from ground moves like an Earthquake from the Landorus. So that being said, let's take a look at what I've attempted to do this week with my team. I've gone with the Ting-Lu because I think Marcus actually has a primarily physical team, but I think the Ting-Lu can be very helpful against the Hisuian Goodra and the Toxic Croak, which I am expecting him to bring. The Terra Fairy is just an all-round, a fairly neutral kind of defensive Terra, and you will notice I've invested a lot of speed into this Ting-Lu. So this Ting-Lu reaches 83 points in speed, which is 2 more than a Hisuian Goodra with 4 EVs in speed. And the reason why it's got 2 points, you will see later on with the Trevenant. But basically, because Marcus has a really bulky team, I think Ruination could do a lot of good. And Rock Tomb can help against, say, a Choice Scarf Landorus. Turn 1, I could lead Urshifu, Ting-Lu, and then protected the Urshifu, Rock Tomb the Landorus, and then all of a sudden then my Urshifu will be faster than the Landorus. And the rest of the EVs I spread out. I can't actually remember off the top of my head what they were meant to survive, But I think Ting Lu, there was a benchmark I wanted to hit for a super effective +2 body press off of a Hisuian Goodra. I think that was what it was meant to hit. But yeah. Next up, we've got Trevenant. Now, Trevenant is 1 point faster than the Hisuian Goodra, and the point being, and this is why I went with a Ting Lu that was just 1 speed point faster than the Trevenant. The idea being that Ting Lu can go for the Ruination, provided it hits, and then reduce 50% of the opponent's health, and then Trevenant can follow up with a Nightshade, which always does a fixed 50 damage, which for most Pokemon at level 50 is roughly about 25% of their health. So the idea is that both Ting Lu and Trevenant are incredibly bulky, and they can technically and theoretically clutch out games on their own. Ting Lu being just really bulky with the leftovers, and Trevenant having essentially infinite healing with the Harvest and Citrus Berry. This Trevenant set has Will-O-Wisp because there's so many physical attackers on Marcus's team. The Nightshade is just fixed damage. The Haze is there just in case I'm facing off against, say, a Quiverdanc's Volcarona with an Oricorio and they go crazy with all those Quiverdances, or up against something like a body press iron defense Hisuian Goodra. And the Leech Seed is just there for the extra recovery along with Citrus Berry. I was trying to fit Protect onto this set, but the move slots, they were very, very limited. Next up, we've got Urshifu, and I think actually this Urshifu actually should have been Terra Dragon, not Terra Water. I forgot to change it. But yeah, Terra Dragon, because a lot of the Pokemon on Marcus's team are, looking at the Volcarona as a fire type, Palafin, and then Brute Bonnet, the Fire, Water, Grass Core, and Dragon types are very good against it. Now, the only problem could be, say, a Terra Fairy Terra Blast Volcarona, then I can't Terra out of that weakness. So I'm going to be relying on the rest of the team to pick up that weakness. But basically, Terra Dragon's going to be a defensive Terra type. The speed on this Urshifu always guarantees that it outspeeds, I think, an Adamant 252 Landorus. So basically, if I'm up against the Landorus, and it's, say, a Clear Amulet set, then I'm always guaranteed to outspeed it, unless, of course, it's a Jolly Landorus. But I think I'm okay with the Jolly Landorus because that's not doing quite as much damage as the Adamant versions. And the attack, from memory, I think this benchmark, well, actually, this was originally had Rain Dance on the team, and I think the attack investment was just enough to guarantee the Oko onto a Terra Flying Landorus. And of course, I actually ended up not using Rain Dance on my team in the end, but I never ended up changing the EVs, and yeah, the leftover EVs were just dumped into HP. And we've got Squawkabilly, which is basically a budget Incineroar that I'm trying to use with Intimidate and Parting Shot Terra Ghost, because the Squawkabilly has no Protect and I did not want to get faked out. That's also the Cover Cloak being there, as well as double insurance, just in case, say, I don't want to go for the Terra Ghost, because if you look at my team, I think a lot of the Pokemon really appreciate getting a Terastallization, so there were instances where I felt that I would not want to Terra. And this Squawkabilly is max speed. This way, if I send out Squawkabilly against the Landorus, I will know instantly whether or not the Landorus is a choice Scarf or not, because if the Landorus's Intimidate goes off before Squawkabilly, then I will know that it's Scarf, because Squawkabilly's base speed is 1 point faster than Landorus. Next up, we've got Heatran. Now, this Heatran has the wide lens, because I am absolutely terrified of missing both the Heat Waves and the Will-O-Wisps. Because Marcus has such a heavily physical team, I think it's really, really critical for me to land all the burns as necessary onto Marcus's team. And Terra Fairy, because once again, it's just a nice defensive typing. This Heatran has 76 points in base speed to always guarantee an outspeed. I think, what was the Pokemon on Marcus's team that had base 85? I actually can't remember what oh no, Toxicroak, yeah. So basically, the Heatran is guaranteed to survive a close combat from an adamant Toxicroak with the defensive EVs, and if that Toxicroak is 4 speed, it means that my Heatran can always win the 1v1 versus the Toxicroak. Of course, if this is accounting for the fact that the Toxicroak is either an Assault Vest or a Focus Sash, because otherwise the Toxicroaks do not survive the Heat Waves from Heatran. At least I don't believe they do. I can't remember the damage calcs, but yeah, essentially this Heatran is just built to win the 1v1 versus a Toxicroak. Next up, we've got Yuxi. Yuxi has Safeguard because there's both Brute Bonnet and Volcarona on Marcus's team, and I'm very scared of status moves. But I didn't want Misty Terrain, which Yuxi learns, because I also wanted to put my opponent to sleep. So that's where the Yawn comes in. And it's got Reflect, because Marcus's team is so heavily physical, and the last move was just Psychic, as, you know, just in case I ended up in a 1v1 with Yuxi against some opposing team. And the idea with the Rocky Helmet and the Yawn and the Reflect is that in a 1v1 situation, Yuxi can put the opponent to sleep, set up some Reflects, and then just slowly whittle the opponent away with a Psychic. So that is going to be my team, and we are going to get started shortly into our match. Oh, excellent! Marcus has Grass Volcarona, so the Dragon Urshifu is a good... Okay. Stellar Terra Toxicroak, which means I am going to... Actually... So he's brought exactly what I expected him to bring, which is good. Now, let's start with this. And in the back, we can have... do we need Yuxi for this? I think... Yuxi... Okay, Team Blue's definitely coming. I don't know about Heatran. It's either Heatran or Yuxi. Heatran or Yuxi? Let's bring Heatran for this. Or Yuxi. Actually, I like Yuxi. I just gotta remember that I have basically no offense. I think that's fine. Okay, time to find out if this is Choice Scarf Landorus. Okay. What's stopping me from just breaking? Actually, let's Tailwind and Bulk Up. Bulk Up? Yeah, let's do that. That's fine. Yes! He faked out the thingo. Beautiful. Okay. And now let's Brave Bird this guy. And Surging Strikes. So I did not actually get to find out whether or not the Landorus was, you know, choice scarf. That's fine. Now, what is the toxic croak gonna do? Is it sashed or is it... Okay, that's fine. Okay. Not too bad, not bad. So, Callison and thingy, which means... Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, now we find out whether or not this Goodra is... That's also fine. Now let's taunt and bulk up again. Okay, so Toxic Croak has Fake Out and Protect. I'm just gonna write this down. Protect. So it's not Assault Vest. Goodra is something. Callison is Clear Amulet. Okay. So Marcus has brought an entirely physical team. Blast. If it's Terra Blast, Oh. Ow, what the hell? Is that okay, that's fine. Okay, that's a bit unfortunate. That must be Specs. There's no way Goodra does this much damage. Alright, let's party shot this. And let's get Yuxi in. Yeah, okay, so I didn't expect the Ice Beam. I suspect that is a Spec Goodra. It's fine, I didn't target that slot. Oh, okay, so that's Assault Vest Goodra then. That's a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Okay. Alright. So, do you think? Let's Brave Bird the Toxic Croak and let's set up Roll. Yay. Yeah, that's fine. what is a Goodra? Okay, so we maybe Goodra. So nice thing about this is that I now have a rough idea. Yeah, the power flame is going to be a bit problematic. But so Ice Beam and T-Bolt. Okay, so my Tailwind has petered out. And I never found out if it was Sash Toxic, which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. Okay, now is the time to find out whether or not what I'm gonna do is go for the Ruination onto Landorus, and we are going to yawn the Landorus. So Yuxi it should be faster than max speed Landorus. So if Landorus goes before my Yuxi, then I will know it's Choice Scarf. Okay. It's fine. It's also fine. Okay, that's Scarf Yuxi. Oh, sorry, that's Scarf Landorus. I've got some good information. Scarf. Okay. Okay, so. This is also a good opportunity to find out. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna Ruination and Reflect. Okay. Now we get to find out who's faster. Okay. So Yuxi is faster. Well, you can taunt me now, that's fine, I don't care. So taunt again, and just Psychic. Perfect. What we're gonna do is Ruination again and Psychic. Maybe it gets the KO. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, well, that was a very unfortunate Ruination. So, right, let's have a think about this. Oh, actually, I can lead Trevenant, right? So Palafin has... Wait, crash. Okay. So due to this game, what we can do now is we can... Yeah. Okay, so I got a lot of really good information there. What I am gonna do is... So I would still like to lead let's lead Urshifu Squawkabilly. Oh, do we need Squawkabilly? Urshifu and... Flash Cannon, okay, so... I think Team Blue's pretty good. Yeah, let's do Urshifu and Yuxi with Trevenant and Team Blue in the back. How does that sound? I think that's pretty good. So it is Scarfland though. And let's see. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's get Team Blue out. Actually. And then let's go for the safeguard. Here. Okay. I think I saw a flash cannon as well. Bonnet. Wow, that's nuts. Wow. Okay, that's a bit annoying. I'm going to burn the brute bonnet and then ruin this guy. Force it out. Okay. Brute bonnet faster. Sorry, not Brute, Trevenant's faster. Yeah, okay, it's a bit annoying that I've lost Trevenant. That's fine. do very little now. So what I want to do is I would like to... We can just ruination and... reflect. Let's reflect. Once we... Yep, still is. That's fine. Okay. Going again, I guess. Goodra. Yep. Okay. Now we can go for this. Seven strikes. Or we can ruination the group on it. And surging strikes. Because the Goodra has to swap out, right? Okay, so he's accepted the Goodra falling asleep. Alright, what you wanna do? Why is it doing so much? Oh, it's a crit. Now, okay, beautiful. Now I'm just gonna snarl and bulk up. Okay, Brute Bonnet's gone. Who is next? Xandrus? Let's go for the protect and bulk up. And bulk up. Yeah. Stick on for the snarl head. That's fine. What is Landis going to do? Yeah, I should have. That's very nice. Okay. Aww. One turn sleep. I missed one for here, but okay. Let's protect this turn. Yeah, such a bad match. At least I didn't get frozen. You know what would be nice? If I bloody woke up. Oh my god. Honestly, there wasn't much I could do. Oh well. I don't think I misplayed. Like, I don't think there was much I could do against the team. Oh well.